I'm 42. I've been married for 15 years. Until last year, I would have told you I had a boring, stable, middle-class life. 2 kids. Mortgage. Weekend barbecues. A wife who used to fall asleep on my shoulder while we watched Netflix. Nothing dramatic. Nothing extraordinary. My wife, Anna, works from home running an online craft business. I manage logistics for a regional warehouse. Ironically, my job revolves around deliveries. Packages moving from one place to another. Systems. Predictability. For years, the Courier van would pull up to our house almost every afternoon. Same guy. Mid-30s. Friendly. A little too friendly, maybe, but I told myself that was just his job. Anna would joke about how he was more reliable than Amazon. Life felt normal. Safe. I thought I understood the rhythm of it. I didn't realize that while I was tracking shipments across the state, something much more personal was being delivered to my front door. At first, it was nothing. She mentioned him casually. The courier helped bring the heavy boxes inside. He said our dog is cute. He always smiles. I didn't care. Why would I? I trusted her completely. I prided myself on not being the jealous type. Looking back, there were tiny red flags. She started timing her gym runs around his usual delivery window. She wore makeup on random Tuesday afternoons. Not full glam, just effort. When I teased her about dressing up for the mailman, she laughed. Please! He's just a delivery guy. Just a delivery guy. There's something humiliating about how easy it is to dismiss warning signs when they threaten your version of reality. I was busy. Stressed. Working overtime. I liked believing my marriage was solid enough to not require supervision. The van became part of the background noise of our lives. I never imagined it would become the sound that split everything open. The first real crack appeared one evening when I came home early. The courier van was still parked outside. Engine off. I remember feeling confused. It was almost 6 p.m. Deliveries usually stopped by 4. I walked up the driveway quietly, not because I was suspicious, but because I didn't want to startle anyone. I could hear laughter inside the house. Not kid laughter. Adult laughter. When I opened the door, he was standing in the kitchen. No boxes in sight. Anna looked startled for half a second. Then she smiled too fast. Oh, hey! He just had a misdelivered package he needed to check. He nodded, avoiding eye contact. It felt off. But I swallowed it. Later that night, I asked casually, That seemed a little late for work, didn't it? She rolled her eyes. You're not going to get weird about this, are you? I dropped it. I wish I hadn't. After that, I started noticing things I had trained myself not to see. Her phone was suddenly always face down. She began locking the bathroom door when she showered. We'd never done that before. She was distant in bed. Physically present, mentally gone. I told myself it was stress. Hormones. Maybe she was depressed. I even suggested therapy, which she brushed off. Then one afternoon, I got a notification from our shared iPad. She forgot we were logged into the same messaging app. It was just one line. Tomorrow same time. I'll make sure he's gone. My chest went cold. I stared at the screen for a long time, hoping more context would magically appear. It didn't. I didn't confront her immediately. I wish I could say it was strategic. It wasn't. I was terrified of confirming what I already knew. Denial can be a comfortable place. For about 12 hours I lived there. The next day, I left work early without telling her. I parked down the street. The van arrived right on schedule. I watched him walk up to my door carrying a single small envelope. Too small for the amount of time he stayed inside. 30 minutes passed. 40. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely grip the steering wheel. When he finally came out, his shirt was untucked. He looked around before getting into the van. That's when I felt it, not anger yet, Not even heartbreak. Humiliation. I was the punchline of a joke I didn't know existed. I waited until he drove away before walking into my own house. She was flushed. Breathless. "Why are you home?" she asked. Why was I home? The absurdity of that question almost made me laugh. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I just said, "How long?" Her face drained of color. She tried to lie first. Of course she did. "What are you talking about?" I told her I'd seen the messages. I'd seen him leave. The silence that followed felt like a physical weight. Finally, she whispered, "It just started as flirting. That's always how it starts." "How long?" I asked again. 6 months. 6 months of him coming into my house. 6 months of me waving at him like an idiot from the driveway. I asked if it was emotional or physical. She didn't answer. That was my answer. I remember sitting down at the kitchen table, staring at the spot where we'd eaten dinner as a family the night before, wondering how a room could look the same while everything inside it was destroyed. The worst part wasn't even the sex. It was the intimacy. She admitted they talked for hours. About our marriage. About me. About how lonely she felt. He apparently made her feel seen. I wanted to vomit. Seen. I worked overtime to support her business. I handled school pickups when she was overwhelmed. I thought I was being a good husband. She said, "You stopped looking at me the way he does." I snapped. "He looks at you because he doesn't have to live with real life." She cried. Said she didn't mean for it to go this far. That phrase, "this far," kept echoing in my head. There's always a moment before this far. She just kept walking past it. And I was too busy trusting her to notice. Then came the detail that shattered me completely. She was pregnant. 3 months. My mind did the math instantly. We hadn't been intimate much during that period. I'd been traveling for work part of it. I asked the question I was terrified to ask. "Is it mine?" She didn't say yes. She said, "I don't know. I don't know." That sentence is a nuclear bomb. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. I couldn't hear anything except a dull ringing in my ears. The most valuable delivery was without a box. It wasn't something you could return. Or track. Or insure. It was growing inside my wife. And I didn't even know if it was my child. I left the house that night. Drove aimlessly for hours. I thought about everything, our wedding day, her hand in mine when our first child was born, the nights we stayed up laughing about nothing. Were those moments real? Or was I just a placeholder until someone more exciting came along? I hated myself for still loving her. I hated that part of me wanted the baby to be mine so I could pretend this was just a horrible chapter instead of the end. The courier kept texting her. She showed me one message when I demanded to see it. "Tell him it's mine." So he knew. He was ready to claim it. That level of disrespect felt almost worse than the affair itself. He walked into my house and took something that wasn't his. And she let him. We did a paternity test as soon as it was possible. Those 2 weeks waiting for the results were torture. She tried to act normal for the kids. So did I. We smiled at dinner. We packed lunches. We played the roles. At night, we slept on opposite sides of the bed like strangers renting the same room. I replayed every memory in my head, looking for clues I'd missed. Was she already drifting back then? Was I blind or just woefully ignorant? When the results came, I opened the email alone. The baby wasn't mine. I didn't cry. I felt empty. Like someone had scooped out my insides and left a shell behind. She sobbed when I told her. Kept saying she was sorry. Sorry doesn't reverse biology. I confronted him once. Not my proudest moment. Not my most rational either. I waited for the van at the end of the street 2 days after I got the paternity results. I don't even remember deciding to do it. I just found myself sitting in my car, engine off, heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. When he turned the corner, I stepped into the road. He slammed the brakes and leaned on the horn. I didn't move. He got out, already defensive. "What the hell are you doing?" I asked him if he planned to raise the child. Not yell. Not threaten. Just asked. He looked annoyed, not ashamed. "She said you might stay," he replied, like we were discussing a delayed shipment. "You might stay." Like I was an optional accessory. A backup plan. The casualness of it made my vision blur. He wasn't trembling. He wasn't conflicted. He wasn't in love. He said, "It wasn't supposed to be serious." I actually laughed then. It came out wrong, sharp, hollow. "A child isn't serious?" He shrugged. Shrugged. In that moment I realized something that somehow hurt more than the affair itself. Whatever fantasy Anna had built around him, it wasn't mutual. He wasn't some great love story. He was bored. Flattered. Convenient. My marriage wasn't destroyed by destiny or passion. It was collateral damage in someone else's ego boost. And somehow, that made me feel even smaller. Telling our families was a second humiliation layered on top of the first. We sat in my parents' living room like teenagers confessing to a broken curfew. My mother kept staring at Anna like she didn't recognize her. My father didn't say much, but his jaw stayed clenched the entire time. When Anna admitted the baby might not be mine, my mom actually gasped. I hadn't heard that sound from her since my grandfather's funeral. Her mother reacted differently. She cried immediately. Grabbed my hands and begged me not to give up on the marriage. Kept saying, "People make mistakes. 6 months isn't a mistake. It's a routine. It's scheduling your life around someone else." Friends found out in fragments. Some reached out to me privately. Others distanced themselves from both of us, like betrayal was contagious. A couple of people told me quietly, "It was just sex," as if that minimized it. Our kids, thank God, don't know the details. They just know Mom and Dad whisper fight behind closed doors. They know I moved into the guest room. They know something has shifted. The house feels divided now. Invisible fault lines run through it. Every delivery van that drives by makes my stomach twist. It's ridiculous how your brain can rewire something ordinary into a threat. I stopped sleeping properly. Started pouring myself a drink most nights just to shut my thoughts up. The betrayal didn't just break trust. It broke my sense of what was real. She wanted to work on it. That phrase kept coming up. Work on it. Fight for us. Rebuild. She blocked him in front of me. Deleted the messages. Changed her number. She cried constantly. Sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night and hear her muffling sobs into a pillow. She even offered to terminate the pregnancy. That suggestion hit me in a place I didn't expect. Not relief. Not anger. Something darker. Now it wasn't about love or regret. It was about damage control. I asked her, through all of it, why she risked everything. She said she felt invisible. Like she'd become just a mother, just a wife, just someone who managed school calendars and laundry schedules. She said when he flirted with her, it reminded her she was still desirable. I tried to understand that. Marriage can make you complacent. I know I stopped doing small romantic things. I stopped noticing details. But I never stopped loving her. I don't understand how feeling unseen turns into inviting someone into your bed. She said she never meant for it to go this far. That phrase again. There's always a choice before this far. Every text. Every time she opened the door. Every time she watched the van pull up and didn't stop it. Maybe I failed her in ways I didn't see. But betrayal isn't a communication tool. It's a detonation. And I was still standing in the crater. In the end, I filed for separation. Not dramatically. Not in rage. Just quietly, after a night where I realized I couldn't look at her without seeing him in my kitchen. I'd try to focus on her face, and instead I'd picture his untucked shirt. The way he avoided eye contact when I first walked in that evening months ago. The image replayed constantly. She begged me not to do it. Said we could do counseling. Said she'd spend the rest of her life making it up to me. But the trust was gone in a way I couldn't articulate. It wasn't just about the affair anymore. It was about the lies layered on top of lies. She moved in with her sister after I filed. The baby was born a few months later. He acknowledged paternity eventually, though from what I hear, he's barely involved. I don't ask for updates, but news travels. I see my kids on weekends now. We tried to keep things normal. Pizza nights. Board games. Homework at the kitchen table. But when they leave Sunday evening, the house goes silent in a way that feels physical. 15 years reduced to paperwork. Shared custody schedules. Divided holidays. Sometimes I still catch myself expecting to hear her laugh from the other room. Or her footsteps in the hallway. It's like muscle memory for a life that doesn't exist anymore. And some nights, I sit in the quiet and wonder if I pulled the plug too fast. Then I remember the email. The paternity test. And I know I didn't. It's been almost a year now. People keep asking if I'm over it. I don't think betrayal is something you get over. It's something you integrate. Like a scar that changes how you move even after it heals. I question everything now. My judgment. My instincts. My worth. I replay the early days, the jokes about the Courier, the casual smiles, the way she'd say, "He's just doing his job." I wonder if there was a moment I could have interrupted it. A sentence I could have said. A boundary I should have drawn. Maybe I couldn't have stopped it. Maybe trust always requires vulnerability, and vulnerability always carries risk. What hurts most isn't that she desired someone else. It's that she built a parallel world inside our home and let me walk through it blind. If she had come to me and said, "I'm unhappy," I would have moved mountains. I would have changed jobs. Scheduled date nights. Gone to therapy. Instead, she let someone deliver an ending to my doorstep. No box. No tracking number. No fragile sticker. Just consequences that ripple through everything: my kid's childhood, my sense of safety, my ability to trust again. I still love parts of her. I hate that. I miss the version of us that existed before the van started parking in our driveway. If you're reading this and something feels off in your relationship, don't ignore it the way I did. Silence can be louder than shouting. And sometimes the most devastating deliveries don't arrive in cardboard. They arrive in secrets.